Right, you lot, and in 2024, music was absolutely unbelievable. 2023 was such a forgettable year for music, it was such a dud, to be honest, whereas 2024, every man and his dog dropped a bloody album this year. All the big names and all the big genres all pretty much dropped. Why am I doing the worst songs of the year then? Well, I'm going to get to the best ones, and I'm switching it up this year. Before they were video essay videos, I'm going to do the opposite this year and do them as more commentary in front of the camera. And I'm doing a worst list as well this year, because although there were so many great songs, which I can't wait to praise next week when I do the inevitable best songs of the year, there were a lot of, well, not very good songs, to put it lightly. And I think that they need calling out. I just want to stress that I've not really been too restricted when it has come to what songs I've talked about. Now, this is not probably the actual 10 worst songs of the year, because the 10 worst songs of the year was some shit that were probably made in someone Virgin's basement. Probably my new album is probably all the spots. But so I've gone for a mix of hit songs and songs at least by notable names, or songs that were interestingly bad. Because there's no point talking about some SoundCloud rapper with 10 followers when you can talk about my number 10 pick, which is Eminem's Houdini.
Abracadabra. I'm about to reach in my back, bruh. Abracadabra. Just like that, and I'm back.
Two songs called Houdini that were dropped this year on two pretty big albums. Both albums were quite disappointments, but that is beside the point. Eminem in 2024 released his big comeback with his album The Death of Slim Shady. It was far from his worst album, it was a lot better than Revival, and it had its moments. The whole thing was just a bit embarrassing. He's past it, he's tedious, and it's just, the stick of Eminem has got old by now, and I think he needs to retire personally. Houdini for me was just such an eye-rolling song. You got Eminem there going on about cancel culture. Boring, played-out, obvious topic for him to go for someone of the lyrical and just the ability that Eminem's possessed over the years. You wouldn't expect him to go for such an easy, obvious target, which doesn't even affect him, so I don't really think anyone's ever tried to seriously cancel Eminem. I don't really know what he's complaining about, to be honest. I think the whole cancel culture stuff, it's just tired at this point, and it's just people getting upset about nothing really, and it's just trying to defend people saying outlandish things. So he also sampled Abracadabra. Like, what were you doing? How? Why? It was a terrible sample choice. It was a lazy song choice, and anyone who says that this song was Eminem getting back to glory days and proving all the people right, he wasn't really proving anything, really. The whole thing was just embarrassing. This is far from the worst song of the year, and there's probably songs in honourable mentions that are worse than this song, but the reason I put it on the list is because from a name as big as Eminem, you'd expect something better than this. In ninth, going from one of the most respected people in music to one of the least respected people in music, is Jojo Siwa with
I should've known better. If I had a wish, I would've never left around. When I saw the pics of you and her, I felt the knife twist. Karma's a bitch, and she's with you right now.
Story of Karma is absolutely fascinating. If you don't know, this song was originally meant to be a Miley Cyrus song that Disney failed to let her release due to, I don't know, it was too edgy for her back then. It was then passed on to a singer called Britt Smith. Now, Britt Smith did not get to release the song. Instead, her label opted for her to release a different song. This single flopped, and Britt Smith was never really heard of, let's be honest. Jojo Siwa came with this big song. Jojo Siwa claims she wanted to escape the childish kind of persona that she'd put on. In reality, she was just trying to overshadow the fact of her very problematic, manipulated TV show where she saw young stars and overworked them and didn't treat them right and used them and exploited them in the same way that she was used and exploited as a child, and the whole thing was quite sad. So she instead divided attention by dropping this song, and I'll be honest, it definitely garnered a lot of attention, so I guess if that was her goal, she achieved that. But the problem is Jojo Siwa cannot sing. no amount of auto-tune saved her in this song. And I think what the problem was, the Brit Smith version shows such a maturity and kind of a authenticness, and you really feel the story. With JoJo, it's like she's going through the motions without actually living the experience. You don't believe it. The music video is a lot more fascinating than the actual song. I mean, the dance moves, I've not been able to sleep since I witnessed some of the things that she did in that video. Now, I don't want to be too mean to JoJo because she's not really a singer, but the fact that people let her release that is a bit of an issue, and the Guilty Pleasures album was a disaster, to put it lightly. Okay, in 8th place, I've gone for, this is such an easy target. I've gone for I Don't Wanna Wait by One Republic and David
Let's make
Guetta.
tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait.
Picking the latest David Guetta song is such an easy cop-out for a list like this. He's been ruining classic songs, and it seems to be each sample that he does gets lazier than the last and more pointless. Here he's taken Numa Numa, a song that was pretty much memed and hated already. The only interesting thing about Numa Numa was the vocal delivery of the song and the uniqueness. So what did they do instead? They just sampled it to the most basic, boring, I don't wanna, like, it's just so lazy, no energy. And the thing is, it's such an easy hit opportunity, and that's the frustrating thing. There were really good songs this year that weren't hits and deserved a lot more credit than something like this, which was just thrown out in about 5 seconds. And that is why it deserves to be on the list. Sixth, we've got Days of Girlhood by Dylan.
All ages girls like me gotta learn the basics. Last look quick, change, sip champagne. Playing catch up cause we missed the pregame. Pull up the group chat where you at, drop a pin. We're doing hot girl shit.
Now, I'd love to say that Dylan Mulvaney did an amazing thing and she gave the middle finger to all the people that were throwing up so much criticism for a Bud Light advert a couple years ago, and granted that hate was overdone, but I do understand a lot of the serious criticism with Dylan Mulvaney. I feel like her whole brand is quite backwards, where her position and portrayal of girlhood and feminism is very stereotype driven and almost very sexist as a whole, what she's doing. I understand trying to live like a woman, but you're just doing the very things that are quite outdated views of what women actually are and are meant to do. So I do understand on that hand, but at the same time, did you have to get that upset about a Bud Light advert? So both sides are quite questionable here. But my main issue with Days of Girlhood, apart from, like I've said, her whole act of femininity is just very sexist and playing into all of the stereotypes. It's an atrocious piece of music. I mean, Dylan Mulvaney cannot sing, and I think some people shouldn't release songs. Dylan Mulvaney, she's got a lot going for her. She's got the fashion, the kind of marketing, the adverts, but like didn't really work out in the end for her. But why does she need to do a song? And if it was an attempt to give a middle finger to her haters or skeptics, it did the complete opposite in reality, and all she did was just prove the very point that they were trying to make in the first place. So, just think it was a bit of an embarrassment of a song, Days of Girlhood. In 7th, we've got Bigfoot by Nicki Minaj.
Can't cry, child, bye. Bigfoot, but you still a small fry. Swearing on your dead mother when you lie.
Hey yo, this little begging whore, talking about Megan's Law. For a free beat, you get hit Megan Raw. If you a ghost by the party in Megan's jaw. Shot stone, but I still
Even pertaining to your mom, you don't want them out, okay? Now,
Now this was a terrible start to the year, wasn't it? Now in response to Megan Thee Stallion's hiss, Nicki hits back with a diss track, which just shows she's way too old for this. Bigfoot felt like a voice note. It didn't feel like a real song. It was so poorly done, so awful. But the problem with Bigfoot is that it's not even the song itself, it's just more like the context behind it. And I'm not going to go into the whole story, but basically, You got Nicki Minaj. Nicki's there, like, defending people that have done horrendous things to Megan. And, like, she's on the side of rapists and, like, some really shady stuff. I'd watch the whole thing, and I just think Nicki really needs to do better, to be honest. And it really tanked her career. I don't see how she can come back from this atrocity. Anyway, moving on. Okay, 5th place, I have gone for Oppie Day by Lil Marvin.
Yeah. These hoes be so fake, I'm tired of getting played. I just need a switch, who gonna stay by me? Cause we be having fun, make the ops run. They put their hands up when I play them my drum.
You know, the guy that had that really bad bar about blue and red and purple. Yeah, I've seen the High Mind video. Lil Marbu is just one of those wannabe gangster, not very cool rappers. He's just a spoof of most decent rappers, except he's not really got anything about him. He's a bit of a joke artist, to be honest. Lil Marbu is kind of like the Young Gravy of gangster-based rap, where he's just... it just doesn't work. Now, what he's done here is he's taken the Daniel Powter classic. When I say Daniel Powter, you probably don't even know his name. It's the biggest one-hit wonder of all time. But he takes Bad Day and he makes it gangster. Who asked for that? Serious question, who asked for this atrocity? Like, I honestly do not get what the logic behind this song was, apart from shock value, because we're taking Bad Day and we're making it gangster, and it's just so half-assed, so fake. It just doesn't have anything good going for it, so that is why I've put it there. Okay, now the 4th song on this list is called Trigger Warning by Falling in Reverse.
We're taking a stand, we're making demands, we're protecting the children, we got blood on our hands. This is irrelevant, but you keep backing that shit for the hell of it, and you keep acting like you don't got skeletons up in your closet that you don't want dwelling in. Pushing the narrative, aren't you proud to be an American? There's nowhere to run, nowhere to...
Not only was Popular Monster a heavily transphobic and just offensive album, just in what Ronnie was talking about, and I mean, one glance at Ronnie's Twitter and you know exactly where he stands. The album also featured features from a neo-Nazi and a man who's been arrested 40 times. That's not even a joke, you can look that up. In Trigger Warning, Ronnie Radke is just doing the same old stick that you've seen time and time again. He's there moaning about free speech and moaning about cancel culture and saying they're trying to take us all down and you can't say anything and I've got these opinions, I can't... And it's like... what you do is you go to Ronnie Radke and you ask him what can he actually not say, and I guarantee he won't tell you because there's actually not. It's just such a tired thing. Like in 2024, are people actually moaning about cancel culture? And it's even worse than the Eminem song because it's this heavy metal, really embarrassing song, and also the beat sounds like a song from Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
Cause it's hot, hot lover. You can't even go on your tippy toes.
The outro song, it's just the worst instrumental. It sounds like a really bad, like, pirate song from like a kid's cartoon. So that's very distracting. And then you got Ronnie doing his usual boring stick, which sounds like a song that should have been released in 2018. And it's just the whole thing crashes down. 3rd place is Facts by Tom McDonald.
They can't cancel my message cause I'm the biggest independent rapper in the whole freaking world. Claim that I'm racist, yeah alright. I'm not ashamed because I'm white. If every Caucasian's a bigot, I guess every Muslim's a terrorist. Every liberal is right. I don't wanna
on me on the internet, my comment section all woke Karens. And I make racks off compound interest, y'all live with your parents. Nikki, take some notes, I just did this for fun.
Do I have to talk about Facts by Tom McDonald? Now, the immediate issue that I have with Facts is that you've got Tom McDonald teaming up with Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire, who of course is a very known right-wing pundit who openly once said that rap isn't music. Someone clearly of the amount of musical knowledge that Ben Shapiro has really made a major statement. He really failed to understand there. He's somehow now on a rap tune, except like what they're trying to do with the song is go on about how they're not selling money, they're not selling guns and drugs, they're not like all the other rappers, but they're not saying anything new. I don't really get why it's called Facts. Every Tom McDonald song is the same stick over and over again. It's something, being a white guy is so hard in 2024, something pronouns, something, I'm not racist, something, you tried to throw over the president, something, there's 2 genders, like, it's the same song, rinse and repeat, so I don't really get what was so different about this Tom song compared to all the others, except the fact that Ben Shapiro features where he says things like he makes money off compound interest and homie no cap and something like Lizzo, my pockets are fat. Like, his verse, he's somehow slower in the rap verse than he is when he talks in debates, so I think that's quite funny. It was a disaster. It made Bigfoot actually look credible, and it came out in the same week. Okay, the runner-up is The Heart Part.
Leaving heart emojis underneath pics of the child. Speaking of anything with a child, let's get to that now. This Epstein angle was the shit I expected. TikTok videos you collected and dissected. Instead of being on some disdirect shit, you rather fucking grab your pen and misdirect shit.
Now, the Kendrick-Drake beef was one of the biggest things of 2024. I think everyone and their nan knows that Kendrick won the beef, although Drake's first few attempts weren't terrible. The tailor-made freestyle was a bit of a disaster. I really didn't hate the Family Matters song. I thought it, well, not as good as Kendrick's song, but a decent comeback. But The Heart Part 6 was the clear black sheep of all of these songs. Now, Drake is accused of being a paedophile and having an inappropriate relationship with minors, right? How does he clap back at that? He basically just claims that he was too famous to be a paedophile and that he expected this angle and that there's no way it's possibly true because you would have known already. It was the weakest defence and argument I've ever seen to clap him back at paedophile allegations. I'm already going to talk about this in my Worst People of the Year video, so I don't really need to talk more about The Heart Part 6, but the fact is, like, not even on streaming. It was a very terrible gimmick that Drake tried that didn't work. So what is the worst song of the year? Well, before we get to that, I've got a few honourable mentions. First up, Wagwan Delilah.
Wagwan Delilah, what's it like in Toronto City? I'm 2,000 kilometers away, but girl, tonight you look so bad, oh yes you do. Don't ask where Lord shine as bright as you.
Now, I would have put this on the list because it's one of the worst songs I've ever heard. Somehow Drake is the best part of the song. The other guy, I'm not going to remember his name because I don't want to. Oh God, I can't sleep after that verse. It was a terrible, awful interpolation of a not very good song already, but it made me love Hey There Delilah a lot more. But I think this song was a clear troll, so I didn't want to put it on the list. The next honourable mention is I Love It by Camila Cabello and Playboy Carti.
I love it, 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 I love it.
Let me just play the Playboy Carti verse and you'll see why it's on the list. This song was obnoxious, not clever, and just horrible to listen to. My next honourable mention is Think You the Shit, brackets, fart.
What the fuck I'ma say in the intro? You want me to say something so bad?
Stop playing with them, Riot.
Can you please?
Think you the shit, bitch? You not even the fault.
Moving on. A penultimate one that I've gone for is You Missed by Tom
Thank
McDonald.
God the left can't aim. Thank God the right don't riot. Welcome to the home of the brave. Freedom ain't afraid of violence. You wish you was dying? Bitch, you missed. Thank God the left can't aim. Why can't we just shoot straight? Y'all are going insane. Bitch, you missed.
Song which is so obviously factually incorrect. First of all, he did the song less than 24 hours after the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which you could argue that he'd say, oh, I was just so outraged at what happened, I had to know you're capitalising off of a shooting of a man that you support, so I think that was a bit shady. And the fact that he's so, like, emotional, where it's been proven that the man that shot Trump was a registered Republican whose motives are still unclear, so to immediately frame it as this attack from the left and that Biden was involved in all this mental conspiracy theory stuff is just the incorrect thing to do. And my final honourable mention, people are not going to like this, I've gone for it.
Sweet like a soul, so you can't sleep, baby, I know. Does that mean espresso? Move it up, down, left, right, oh, switch it up like Nintendo.
I just think this song doesn't have the personality of other songs of the year. I think Sabrina is still kind of looking for an identity. I think her songs are quite hookable, but it's kind of got that Drake thing of like, it's quite soulless, I felt. I didn't find Espresso a very fun song, and I think it was overdone. But that's just my controversial take. And the number 1. It's Woman's World.
Sexy, confident, so intelligent. She is heaven sent, so soft, so strong.
Woman's World on its own is a bad song, but you may be asking, why is Woman's World worse than The Heart Part 6 or Facts or Oppie Day, when those songs are probably a lot more worse? But for me, all of those songs, I went into them, yes, even the Tom Arnold song, with the slightest bit of hope that the song was good. I at least went into the songs neutral, and I'm like, I'm going to give them a chance, and they might surprise me. Woman's World instantly disregarded any respect that I had for it before it was even released. Now, Katy Perry was someone who's really had a very tragic career trajectory. She started off as one of the most hottest, most successful stars on the planet. 5 number 1 hits from Teenage Dream, remember? Just over 14 years ago. Her Witness era, where she tried to do Purpose of Full Pop, but one of the songs was that Bon Appetit song. It just, the whole thing flopped. Her SNL performance was a disaster. And since Witness, she hasn't really delivered a hit. I didn't mind Smile, and I really liked the Never Really Over song, which was the lead single from it, but it didn't garner that attraction which she hoped for. But then when we got to this new one, 143, the lead single Woman's World was instantly disregarded by the fact that she worked with Dr. Luke. Now, if you don't know who Dr. Luke is, he is who has been found to do many horrible things to women. Basically, he's used them, neglected them, exploited them. We all saw what Kesha did with Praying and her response, and we saw her speak out, and we saw other artists speak out again. Katy Perry always really kept it on the low when it came to Dr. Luke. She never really confronted him or outright spoke, and even when she's questioned on why she teamed up with him on this album, which the clear reason is that he produced most of her hits and she's that desperate for success that she went back with him, even though it didn't work, so in the end it was a misfire. She just waffled, to be honest, and didn't even answer any of the questions of why. So, to work with an abuser when you're doing a song called Woman's World, which is meant to be this feminist, big song, your message is lost, unfortunately, Katie. No one's taking you seriously. You're calling the song Woman's World, and you're working with an abuser. I don't even need to elaborate the problem with that. The song itself is atrocious. It's like a word association of words that you'd expect with feminism. Like, she's just like, sexy, confident. Like, ChatGPT could have written the song, and it probably did. Like, it's just such a desperate, obvious feminist scream, which clearly has no care behind it because you're working with an abuser. She later claimed the song to be satire and that we just didn't get it and that it was this great thing, but no, it was just soulless. So yeah, that was my reaction and my top 10 worst songs of 2024. And I hate to put her first because she's someone that I was actually really rooting for a comeback. I was really hoping the new Katy album would deliver, but it just didn't. The rest of the songs were so forgettable that they're not even worth mentioning. So yeah, that was the top 10 worst songs. Next week I'll be doing the top 10 best songs, which is the list I'm more excited to do.